Welcome to Ed. My name is BJ. Today, Asanda Buthelezi joins us in studio as we explore the technology behind Earth Probiotic recycling. Welcome and thank you very much for joining us, man.
It's a pleasure, BJ.
Thanks
Thank you
for
for having
coming
me. Thank you.
First of all, in a nutshell, what is Earth Probiotic?
So Earth Probiotic is a company that focuses on diverting food waste from landfill, and we do it by using probiotic bacteria. So yeah, probiotic bacteria in this case is our wheat bran, which acts as the carrier, and it's called bokashi. So the bokashi is actually a Japanese term for fermented food waste. Bokashi, yeah, that's it. And it was developed in the 1980s in Japan, but that shows that this technology has been around for a while. We're just adopting it here in South Africa quite recently.
Okay, so the technology does exist. Or had existed already
It existed
before.
prior, yes.
So you brought it up this side?
Well, not me personally, but yes, our founders did, yeah.
What was the point of the initiative? How did this initiative come about?
So our co-founder, Karen Heron, she's an avid recycler and she's very passionate about the earth. And she was looking for ways to recycle her food waste. And she researched ways and came up with worm farms, household worm farms. But they can only do certain types of food, which would be fresh fruits and vegetables. They cannot process cooked meats and citrus, fish bones and dairy. And she'd been researching until she stumbled upon bokashi and found out that nobody in the country had actually been doing it. So that's how we were founded about 3 years ago, and we've been moving quite fast ever since.
You've been growing.
We've been growing.
Okay, all right. So it seems as though there's a lot of science that is involved with this. I mean, what sort of qualifications would you need for you to end up in such an industry or in such a field?
Firstly, I think you just have to be passionate about the environment. Your passion, your love for the earth, and your love for trying to remediate what we as humans have actually damaged. That's for me is the main qualification.
Yeah.
But on a more academic note, I'd suggest one would study a BSc in microbiology and or environmental sciences. That should put you in good stead to understand the processes as well as the technology behind what actually goes on.
Okay, talking about processes, what is the technology exactly behind?
So the technology is beneficial bacteria, yeasts and fungi, which are brewed in the carrier, which is the wheat bran and the bokashi. And the way the process works is that this beneficial bacteria stabilizes the food waste and stops it from rotting. Once you stop the rotting, you eliminate fly infestations and the attraction of vermin. So you're keeping your kitchens healthy and you're not feeding, the bad infestations. And then you layer the bokashi with the food waste, and once it's full in your airtight digester, you let it ferment. So once
how long is the fermentation?
The fermentation process is 2 weeks. So when the bokashi is added to the food waste, it activates a fermentation process similar to making beer or wine, or for us people from the hood, it's umqombothi. So it's a similar process. You're actually brewing the food waste, you're fermenting it. So once fermented, after 2 weeks, you can either bury it, compost it, or feed it to earthworms. So now I
was about to ask, I mean, what's the point of going through those processes?
So if you think about an earthworm, they can only process half of their body weight. But now once all food waste has been processed, then the worms absolutely love it. And then you get very good worm castings and vermicast. And vermicast is known to be at least 30 times better than normal compost.
Is that the black stuff there?
So this black stuff here is actually compost made from food waste. So after this fermentation process, it's composted, and then that's your end product after 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh, so it comes out as compost at the end of it all?
But not in the drum. Okay. In this digester, it actually comes out as the fermented food waste.
Okay.
So in this, it's fermenting, after which you compost it in the ground. Now, the way composting would work is that you dig a hole about 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter, so 1 square meter, and then so to make good compost, you need what we'd call your greens and your browns. I don't want to get too technical, which is actually your carbon source and your nitrogen. So most of the nitrogen source is actually your food waste, and you'd need your carbon source, which would be cardboard, wood chippings, your lawn clippings, well, that's more nitrogen.
Yeah.
So now you're taking your garden waste and your food waste and you're turning it into a resource. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, food waste challenge. Tell us more about that.
So now in our country, our landfills are piling up. They're getting too full. We even have to reopen landfills, and we need to divert as much waste.
You reopen landfills.
That's what's happening because
Okay.
we are running out of space to dump things. So instead of dumping, why not try either reduce, recycle, or reuse? And food waste, which is known as the last recyclable, now we've got the solution on how you can actually recycle your food waste.
How would people at home get involved with this?
Firstly, they can buy themselves a kit. No, but if you cannot afford a kit, we should all start by separating our waste. That's key. Separate
Okay.
your dry
How do you
from
separate, how do you
your
separate
dry
your-
waste from your wet waste. So if you cannot
Can
separate
you give us examples of, let's like, what is a dry
So-
food and what is a wet food? that
So wet waste is food waste in general.
Okay.
Wet waste is all food waste. In
Yeah.
dry waste is your tins, glass, metals, paper, plastic. So you need to separate that from your wet waste so that you're actually increasing your dry recyclables. So you can actually recycle more.
Oh.
And then with our food waste, you recycle it by putting it back into the earth because the nutrients that we get from food and are still in the waste that we throw away. So that's going back to the earth so you can actually grow better fruits and vegetables.
Thank you so much for joining us. For more information on Earth Probiotic, you can find them on Facebook, Earth Probiotic, and on Twitter at Earth Probiotic. To keep this conversation going, head to Ed's online community at Facebook Ed318 and on Twitter at 3188. From me, BJ, until next time, remain curious, be inspired, and recycle.